a long, long time, and it's great to see many of you. I got to meet at the airport, and there's lots of new faces. So I am happy that you're all here. And I just wanted to kind of give you a presentation and kind of give you an update of where the company's at and where the firm is at and what we have to look forward to together in the coming years, okay? And given that I haven't been here as much and I haven't been able to travel, the time is now to recalibrate the company and re-energize it for the future. And so I'm delighted you're here, and so I'd like to maybe just give us a round of applause for ourselves. So thank you so much. So first of all, I need to acknowledge the fact that we've all witnessed in our own families and in our own friends, a difficult few years, right? We've gotten through a worldwide pandemic where we haven't been able to see each other. We haven't been able to see our colleagues and our friends and loved ones. Some of us have lost loved ones, and it's been difficult. So it's nice that we can all meet again in person and not have to wear masks and enjoy a meal together. So it's really nice to see all of you, and thank you for coming out today. And during these years, thank you as well for keeping a commitment to our business and to our clients. So thank you once again for that. Let's give us another. And it takes a lot. In these years, we had to all adapt to a new way of working, and that way of working is very different than where we were before. Previously, we all had an office to go to. Previously, we picked up a phone and called our colleagues or even our clients. And in this type of isolating environment that we all faced together in this world, not just here in Nagpur, but all around the world, it's become, a difficult time, but also a new energizing time for the future. People have gotten more accustomed to speaking visually through cameras and video conferencing, and I think there's a huge opportunity for our business as a law firm and internet provider of the future to capitalize on that trend. So I think this is an exciting time for the business if we can really re-energize it for the future. So thank you all for that. I'm going to make some acknowledgments. I'll do this at the end, but I wanted to just leave this open. I've got some paper here on the cards. We'll probably take a little bit of a break, and I will acknowledge certain people who have gone above and beyond and have been recognized by their peers, and I encourage you to write down a name and submit it to me too, because I want to do that during our dinner and go through some of the people that have really shined a light to the company and kept a commitment and adapted in a very difficult time. And I asked a few of our management who those people are around the world, and they've given me some names, and we've coalesced on a group, so we're going to not only recognize them, but we're going to give them some kind of bonus as well. So we'll get to that at the end. I'm going to start with a little bit about our history of the company. I think many of you are somewhat, some of you have been around. Let me see how many of you have been with the company more than 10 years. Okay. All right, great. So there's a few of you here. How many have you been with the company more than 5 years? Great. And how many have joined after COVID? Okay, wow, great. So you see there's a group of people over there in the back. We've now formed a new office. And we traditionally had an office in Bangalore. We expanded that office and moved it mostly to Nagpur. But during these COVID years, we've now opened an office in Chennai, and we have an engineering center there because we need to rebuild Trademarkia. Previously, we built it in Silicon Valley with Dong Shah and myself and a few other engineers. Now we're building it in Chennai. We've got a very talented team of engineers that we've formed, and I'm hoping that you get a chance to meet some of them. They've come here from Nagpur, and hopefully they can spread out during the dinner to all of your tables so that they're not just isolated in the corner there. So please welcome them and get to know them. And they're going to be integral to not only the success of our company, but also to the success of the Nagpur office and the potential for growth in the Nagpur office. We are going to make significant capital investments. We're looking for larger office space. We know we have kind of constrained office space. We've identified the potential space today. We're also going to be making capital investments in computing, and where computers are slow, we will have those replaced. So I'll give you a brief history of our company and share some fun facts as well. So first of all, Nagpur is a kind of a home to me. I was born in San Francisco, and when I was 6 months old, my parents moved me to Nagpur. So my first language isn't English. My first language is actually Hindi and Marathi. So for those of you who know me, I'm going to be embarrassed to talk right now in front of all of you, but I actually lived in this city. I learned to talk in the city. My first schooling was in this city. And so I have good memories of that. And I am happy to be here and happy to see all of you and see you grow in your careers as well, and come back to a place which has kind of been my first home that I remember, at least. So our firm started in 2005. I started the firm after working for a couple of years in a large Silicon Valley law firm. We initially called it Raja Biancar LLP or Raja Biancar LLP or Raja Biancar PC. It was just my own name. And I started focusing on clients that had Silicon Valley connections and India-based connections, particularly around the 2005 timeframe. There's a number of American companies that were opening up R&D centers in India. And so I moved to India, I moved to Bangalore, and I started working with large multinational companies protecting patents. So this firm, for the first basically 5 or 6 years, was primarily a patent firm. And some of you that like Poonam and others that have been with us a long time, remember where we worked with large multinational companies. And so around the 2010 time frame is when we started focusing more on trademarks. And that's when we actually started making an earnest effort into growing into Nagpur as well, to build to build a support center for the trademark work that was emerging. And the 5 years after that, 2010, were very fast growth years. Our business started from nothing in trademarks, very little in trademarks. So Abhishek Sharma, who's my partner here, who worked with me in Silicon Valley, moved to India. He moved to Bangalore, and then he moved to Nagpur, and he helped seed our first office in Nagpur along with Vivek, and train our first trademark team in 2010. And we've grown this company from those first 5 years of hyper growth to about 2015 to 2010, where we haven't had hyper growth. We've actually had a declining growth. And I think now we are going to see a new future thanks to some of the talents of the engineering team we're building, and some of those things I'm going to be showing you today. So I've shown you some pictures, so to lighten up the mood a bit. This is our first time I came to Nagpur to open up our office in January 26, 2010. We had a dinner, not too different than this, and I wore a suit that day. We had our team that was actually part of another business, a book business, that was working and in my father's family business with Vivek. And that was closing down, so we wanted to find a way to absorb some of those employees into a new structure, and that's where the seeds of the Nagpur office started from. And some of these individuals you may recognize. You see Vivek. There's other people that were maybe ones that were with us when you may have started and have gone to do new and great things, and a lot of them have succeeded. We've been a stepping stone across the world. Our business has been a stepping stone for dozens, if not hundreds, of careers, and very proud of that. So, this was our first office. Our first office was actually in a house in a flat in Nagpur, which we painted inside. And Vivek opened that first flat, and Abhishek actually had a bed in that flat, and actually lived in the flat and trained our team on trademark work tirelessly. So I want to give a round of applause to Abhishek and the individuals early on, like Vivek, to help us get there. So Vivek is my cousin, so some of you may know, that's the elephant in the room, he's my cousin. This is actually Vivek Dada on the right there, and that's me in the middle when I was probably 1979 with my sister, when I lived in Nagpur. So I lived in Nagpur, that picture is taken in Nagpur. And the other one on the left is also in Nagpur, growing up when my parents brought me back to America, and I went and visited. So I always looked up to Vivek Dada as my big brother, and he always took care of everybody. And we're very fortunate to have that strong leadership here to help solidify the base that we've created. So thank you, Vivek. So I'll show you a few more pictures. When we first decided, Abhishek and I, we were a patent firm. This is in Silicon Valley, I believe. And we were thinking about, what are we going to do next? How do we stop writing patent applications and chasing, personal... We had a pretty significant patent book of business. So there was a time we represented NVIDIA, NetApp, Cisco, LSI Logic. We had lots of very large companies as clients, but it was very taxing because we were working all the time, around the clock, all the time. And, we decided, how do we create a system that can generate itself and a company could generate itself? And we started with Patent Express. And Abhishek actually had the idea of what became Trademarkia. He said we should put a trademark filing system inside of Patent Express. And then we started Trademarkia. This was some of the early years where we had the Trademarkia company born. We opened up our Bangalore office, and you can see Eliza, she's still with us now after all these years. She's in Warsaw now, but she helped us start that. And we also had some fun along the way. There's a funny picture there with us in police suits. We were at one time getting so big and popular in terms of the number of trademark filings. We were attracting all kinds of attention. Like in the Bay Area, we're getting all kinds of things that were being mailed to our office, and it was very interesting. And that's why we made a little bit of fun around the Halloween time, which is now. So I'll give you an overview. Since that time in 2009, 2010, it was the end of 2009, we've now helped, thanks to each of you, over 100,000 different businesses. And we've helped them protect their names, logos, slogans, and these are not just businesses, but these are often people and their families. And we've helped those families protect their dreams. And the business we are in is about helping people protect their dreams and build their futures. So, and we've had some small part in that, and each of you have, as you've helped us grow and service those clients. So thank you to all of you again for that. Today we have about 140 employees. Most of our employees we have about 50 here in Nagpur. We have about 25 in Chennai. We have about 30 or so in the Bay Area or in Arizona, and the rest spread across the world. We are now also expanding pretty extensively over the next 12 months in Africa, where I was before. JJ Thiart is here. He can raise his hand a bit. And JJ came to us from South Africa. He's been working with us for about 6 years as a client relations attorney, helping us do a very unique function inside of our company, which is to take care of the clients that we already have. So we've had this fire hose of clients over the years, but we haven't developed deep enough bonds with them, and that poses the greatest opportunity for the business moving forward. So as we look into the future, JJ is going to be building a team primarily around Pretoria, South Africa, but also spread across the world, that's going to help us develop deeper links with our clients. And those deeper links are now facilitated by the changes in global culture. The world is a closer place. I've been working, for example, through the COVID years with some of the people on the table in the back left. When I met them for the first time, maybe yesterday or a couple of days ago, I felt like I already knew them. And I think they felt like they already knew me, because for the last couple of years, we've been building software and having videos, cameras on. And because of that, if you think of that relationship that people can form with clients or people that are actually our customers, we have an opportunity to solidify those relationships And having this Nagpur office and this support team to free up time for people like JJ and our attorneys to spend more time actually speaking with clients and getting to know them and understanding the intricacies of what they're going through, as opposed to sharing and sending emails back and forth, I think is going to be a kind of a large change in how we do business. And I see the impacts already. We are now moving more to trying to have communications with our clients by video, sharing our screens, sharing our content, sharing our ideas, and that reduces some of the friction we've traditionally had in Trademarkia, where we send lots and lots of emails back and forth. And when I say Trademarkia, I'm basically using it synonymously with Legal Force. So we've had this brand confusion for years. Over the next decade, we're going to kind of focus primarily on our primary brand, which is much, much larger. We still get about 9 million unique page views every single year on Trademarkia and millions of visitors, and that brand is very well known. So we're going to start referring to our company increasingly as Trademarkia, less as Legal Force. I'm going to kind of tell you a little bit about what we are, so you may see the world from your vantage as someone helping in the trademark process. But overall, we're kind of a very unique company. So we're part law firm, we're part engineering company, because we're building quite a bit of software internally to enable what we do. And that is, we're creating a search engine for trademarks. We're the first public search engine for trademarks besides the USPTO. And we're now going to create a whole bunch of new tools in the future again to keep that energized. And that e-commerce engine that we've created we pioneered the creation of that engine, and we're going to continue doing that in the future. And so over the years, we're the largest trademark filing firm now since 2010, and that would not have been possible without this team in Nagpur. And now we're over 80,000 clients that have in trademarks that we've protected in the United States, in the history of the United States. So I'd say in the history of the United States, nobody has protected more trademarks than our firm. So we've made a huge impact, and that's something to be proud of. But that's a factor of more than 2x, and that is a big deal. And that means we've helped protect those small businesses and grow their businesses. And our opportunity, and over the last 10 years, we've protected over $80 million in revenue to our business because of helping those protect those brands. And so that's a big accomplishment. And so thank you for that. We've done that without any venture funding at all. So we've raised not a single dollar of outside funding. And that's the opportunity for us as we look forward, is how we turn the ship around. So in our height, we had grown to about a $10, $11 million business. We were filing upwards of 16,000 to 18,000 trademarks a year. We're now down quite a bit. So we're about less than half as big as we were before. And so our opportunities, we're doing about 5 million. We're probably filing about 3,000 trademarks. And as to how do we get back on that growth trajectory. And that's what we're working hard on, is to try to get back on the right path. So I'm going to kind of give you an idea of where our locations are today. So as you know, we're here in Nagpur. We also have this office in Chennai. We have a director of engineering. His name is Sai Sandeep. He's over there in the corner, and he's going to lead our engineering efforts, and he's doing a great job. And you'll see some of the things I'm going to show you, which is quite exciting, that we're building. And rebuilding the site completely. So from where it was built today, what you use the admin panel for, what you see on the site is largely things that was done over a decade ago. We're revitalizing it for the future under Sai's leadership. So we're lucky to have him. And we, of course, have our office in Poland. We're going to probably grow that office from just Piotr and Eliza and a couple of assistants to something larger as we scale our European growth again. In the United Kingdom, we still have a small presence there, but it's now that Eliza's moved to Poland, it's very small. Tempe, where you may interact with people quite a bit, and most of our attorneys have traditionally been there. Though we're now starting to form a center somewhere in the east coast of the United States near Knoxville, Tennessee, We've just hired, Katie Yoches as an attorney. We've hired a second attorney in that same city, Derek Davis, who will start in about 2 weeks. And then also in Florida, where we've now promoted Maria. We've just hired another person in the Miami area. We've got probably 5,000-6,000 customers in Florida alone. So we're going to probably make a bigger effort to have kind of a strong Spanish language and Latin America support from southern Florida. And then in Silicon Valley, where I'm based most of the time, we have our small team there. Jolly and I are primarily there, but we're looking to grow that as well. And then we've also, in the last COVID years, opened an office in Guyana to do customer service, which is a South American country. So we were lucky to have a couple of people there, which are on the American time zone, help us with our clients in the North American time zones. And then, of course, JJ in South Africa, and we just hired we're making an offer right now to a second hire in South Africa. We've made JJ's made a hire to someone in Nigeria, and he's interviewing extensively in South Africa. We probably will have 4 to 5 people in South Africa, and by February. And so we're excited for that opportunity of growth as well. And so why are we growing and how are we growing? And that's the main reason I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our management structure now. So what we're doing is, so that you may not know beyond Nagpur who is in charge of the business today. So I've kind of taken back over the CEO role. We had for a couple years David and other people running the business. I've come back as of August 1st to kind of re-energize the business. And we're taking it forward through this video-first approach. I have Sai Sandeep, who's now helping with he's leading the redevelopment of the Trademarkia site. We have a new HR manager, Navneet, who just stood up, and he's going to be our global HR manager. He's been promoted to that function. So all HR-related activities will go through him now. And he'll be a central point of contact for any needs you have or any questions you have. So Jolly's going to focus primarily on finance and ensuring that the business, he was doing too many different things. So we're now really happy that he has his help in that. And Navneet's a great addition. So Navneet, thank you for joining us. Many of you may know Hallie. How many of you know Hallie Ricketts? Right, it's amazing, right? She says so. Hallie is everywhere all the time, and so she's an amazing person, and she's a hard worker, and she's shown over the years what she can do. We've just given her a significant promotion to be kind of the director of global operations. So every single legal assistant will report to Hallie. All our customer service, customer support, all our legal assistants in the U.S. And India will report to Hallie. I'm hoping that I can have her come here and meet all of you in Nagpur in the next year. So I'm really excited about that promotion. So, and then as far as our next promotion that we just made is JJ Thiart, who's now not just a client relations attorney, but he's now the leader and director of client relations. He's going to scale our team, because that supposes our biggest opportunity moving forward, which is to re-energize the company by taking our existing clients and making them trust us through video, through consultations. Those video consultations can be real-time. They can also be asynchronous through Loom videos. And JJ's is going to be building a team to support that initiative. So we're happy to have him. And we also now have Ferdinando de Michel. He starts in 2 weeks. He's an influencer marketing manager. So when we started this business, it was basically primarily a paid search and email marketing business where we would buy AdWords. We would also market by email. Now, because of the age of TikTok and Instagram Reels and influencer marketing, we're going to make a significant effort into making our brand come back alive. And Ferdinando is got an exceptional background on that. He's going to work with Jackson here from Chennai and a few others to help us build out the operations there. And Jolly will continue leading the finance aspects of the business with me. As far as our local Nagpur management, you obviously know most of them. Vivek is a Nagpur office manager. We have Poonam, who is the patent team manager and someone that I trust 100%. And she's been, someone who has the skills and talents to lead. And I'm happy that she still works with us and is leading this team, because we've had a lot of changes in the patent group. Our patent group has shrunk quite a bit, and we still have an opportunity to make sure we keep a standard of excellence that she always brings out in everybody. So thank you, Poonam. And Akshay Maitre, we've now promoted him to be the manager for all the legal assistants. So Akshay, where are you? Yeah, great. And so as far as the trademark legal assistants, he's always taken on new roles, and he's been with us for a while now, and quite a while now, and he's taken on all kinds of different functions in the company, and he's adapted to our new methods of how we're going to do things moving forward. So he's going to be the manager of the legal assistants supporting the attorneys. So what is the problem we're facing, and why have our revenues declined? I think it's because we've got kind of a two-pronged threat. We have a one-side threat where we've got our own previous company. Half of our company went to a separate company. I don't know if you're aware, but Dong Shah, Ryan, who is here with me, Dong Shah is here with me. They've got another company which is a competitor to us, as well as a number of other law firms and even non-attorney players that have come in the market, that have made it not just a two-person race, but many different companies competing for the same trademark clients. And that's hurt us. And also that we stopped really innovating. We stopped making software that's better and better to make new services for trademarks. And I think those are the opportunities, and some of the things I'm going to show you now. So one of those things is a trademark search. So traditionally, I know many of you use TMTKO, you use other types of advanced search tools, but for consumers, when they look for a trademark search engine, Trademarkia was the first trademark consumer-friendly search engine. But our search engine was never that great. We had like literal mark search, basically, and we had a way to apply for marks. Now we're really focusing on our search quality. So over the next, I'd say 3 to 5 months, we're going to have a better and better search engine, and I'm going to show you some of that today. So some of the Boolean search criteria that you can do when you search for a mark, we've made it much more consumer friendly. So if I type in, like, say, NIK, something that starts with Nike and then it ends with a P, I could put a kind of a wild card in a search term, and it will now find something with everything that has an NIK and then has any other character between it and the word P. Or if I type in, multiple wildcards, it still works. So if I typed in NIKP and then ER, maybe if I say just KEPR. So our search has the ability to find marks that, for consumers, they don't need to actually memorize all the different Boolean search criteria to find. And if we did the same search on Trademark Elite, we did the same search even on the USPTO website for the basic search, it would not work. You'd have to actually use a kind of string of characters. We also have made it much more easier to filter this group. So these trademarks that are found, you can quickly filter by company. So consumers have a very powerful tool now for searching that didn't exist before. They can see registered marks with one click. So what we are building now is the world's best trademark search engine, and I'd argue it already is, and I'll tell you why. We can now search within a description, for example. So if I had to type this search, it would really need to know how to use the USPTO TSDR system. Now with just a few clicks, almost anybody can make those searches, see what classes things are in. You can also filter by the ID manual. So this here is a product services. So if I wanted to find not particularly things that are in the description, but things that are within an ID manual match. So I can type in pizza, or I can type in, like, let's say, sandwich, and I can find, this is in class 16, and there's one result there. So anything that's within class 16, one result will show up. And so I'm searching not within. For those of you that do trademark search, this doesn't even exist on the USPTO website or anywhere else, which is you can use the ID manual to find narrowed hits, which is something very unique. And we've built that largely through the talents of Sai Sandeep and some of the people on the table in the back there. And I'd love to acknowledge each of them, but we have an amazing team. I'll introduce them maybe one by one. We've got Pushpal, Bala, Roshan, Tiru, Saharsh, and we've got Suprit and David. So those are the team there in the back that have built this search engine, and they're all very talented engineers. And we chose this engineering group with Sai from over 1,000 people that applied from Vellore Institute of Technology and other schools, other leading engineering schools. So give them a round of applause for this. And the search engine we're building is going to get better and better. We're going to now create a timeline-based search. We're going to create all kind of visualizations. We're going to have map-based search so we can see what are the trademarks that are being filed in Chennai, what are the trademarks being filed in Nagpur in the United States, and see them on a map and create like a history of brands and create unique experiences that are more consumer-friendly with a strong leadership in search. And that's going to, again, build trust in the product and trust in the company. And this is all going to be free. It's not going to be within a firewall, and it's going to allow us to continue our kind of leadership position. So that's just one example. There's a whole bunch of things that we're going to do with copyright data, patent data, other government data. So we have a long roadmap of taking large government data sets and making them more interesting, relevant, and social to average people. How to make that government data come alive is what's really fueling our growth, and it's fueled our growth over the last decade. And now we're going to re-energize that for the future. So thank you for all joining us, the engineering team. Yeah. Also, we're going to kind of bring back our intranet. We had an intranet before. It went down. I don't know, many of you have logged in now, try to get all our offices to log in and kind of post about our company. So we should celebrate each other, celebrate birthdays. We should celebrate our accomplishments together. We should celebrate people that have been with us a long time. And we did that traditionally, and it's kind of stopped since 2018. So I want to bring that back, and we've kind of moved all the content back over here, and we're going to continue posting on here and make it a re-energized kind of internal culture in our company where we have fun working as well as work hard. So that's another thing that we're going to do to re-energize our company. As far as our client interaction, as I mentioned, we're going to move to Loom. And for those of you that don't know, our client-facing tools that we use inside of Gmail has a little plug-in where you can press a button. Instead of writing a long email, I could press one button and record a video. And that video is basically transmitted along with the screen share. And so that allows a customer to see and hear the attorney or person that's giving them information, as well as be able to see their screen. So if you have a logo or a specimen issue and there's an issue with potentially fraudulent specimen, explaining that in words versus showing that is much more richer form of communication. And so we are going to move as much as we can to video first. So anyone that talks with our clients should always think, can I communicate what I want to say better with video? And if the answer is yes, you should do that. And the new generation of attorneys that we're hiring now, and even our existing ones, are adapting to that, and they're finding great success. Customers like it, clients like it, and even the attorneys like it. So we're going to move more and more towards that video mechanism. And in order to do that effectively, and to do that in a way that we can sustain it, we need a talented team of support assistants. And these support assistants are going to largely be in Nagpur. And so as we scale our business, develop larger relationships with our clients, we're going to expand the Nagpur office. So right now we have about 45 people. I hope by the end of next year we have about 100, anywhere from 80 to 100 people in Nagpur. And for that we're going to look for this larger office. We're going to invest significantly in Nagpur because we're going to try to free up as much time as we can for the people that are speaking with our clients directly to spend more time on Loom and be empowered with the information they need. So because many of our customers are Americans and people in the American continent, we're going to make our communications more relevant to them. They need to feel like when they're speaking with someone, that they speak to someone that's in their country and someone that understands their culture. Because right now, that is who our customers are today. But in order for us to do that, especially at the price points we have to have a globalized structure, and each of you are key roles in that. There will be opportunities, if you really want to speak with our clients, to interview in some of those client-facing roles. And I think there's one that is interviewing now with JJ, if you feel comfortable enough to have those types of communications directly with clients. It's one thing to send an email to a client. It's another thing to have a live interaction with someone. And if you're willing to do that, that's where we want to have those communications. We want to lessen the amount of communications that are being sent by emails, unless there are alternatives which could be better served by video consults, because that relationship is formed much more deeply that way. And so, focusing on customer service, we are going to move our customer service back to 7 days a week, as it traditionally was. All U.S. day hours customer service is again going to be in the United States. And supported in Guyana, which is on the same time zone and culturally very similar to America in terms of accents, in terms of the way the time zones work as well. And we will move nighttime support, where we have our European customers, to either Europe or to Asia, including India. But we're going to have a more focus on customer service. That customer service is also, even online chats will move to video chats. So we're going to have, anytime someone chats us, a encouragement to that person chatting with us to move that conversation to a live video conversation. So everything is going to move more towards having the camera first approach, as opposed to typing things back and forth. And I think if we do that, we're going to be on a new path. When we started Trademarkia, there was effectively two types of competitors. One was these traditional lawyers, where you had to go meet them in their office. They'd be wearing a suit like I am, maybe with little better shoes, because my shoes, I couldn't pack better shoes right now because I forgot them 10,000 miles away. But you'd go into a lawyer's office, you'd have a meeting with them, they'd be in a fancy building, it'd be an intimidating thing to actually go talk to an attorney. What we did is we democratized that by making that accessible through the web. And when we did that, we also somewhat changed the fidelity of communications. The fidelity of communications became, instead of a verbal relationship-based communication, it became this, communication purely by text or email. And that loses something. So we always still lost out to the people who would prefer going into the law office. But now we have something even better. You can meet your attorney, you can talk to a law firm without even leaving your home. And that is a less intimidating way to do transactional law. And I think because of that, if we can capitalize on that, we are going to be extremely successful in the next decade, because we already have a head start. And that's the vision we're painting for the future, is a future where law is accessible to you, not just because you're able to communicate by email through an e-commerce website, but you're able to form a relationship with a lawyer who might be 10,000 miles away from you, but you still see them, you know who they are, and one day if you were to meet them, you'd already see them as your friend and someone that you can trust. And if we can do that at scale, we're going to be off to a new path of success, and that's where we want to take the business for tomorrow. Part of that is also being able to share inboxes. So one of the things that we've started doing with Ankita and Nidhi and Akshay, who've been so generous to work with me and for crazy hours of time, and since August 1st, is to kind of look at how we actually talk with clients. And we've innovated ways that are different than what our attorneys have done in the past, by actually having our attorneys check my inbox. They're able to access my inbox through a shared inbox. They're able to place drafts in my inbox. So effectively, when I walk in, I'm to the office or wherever I'm at, I'm checking my drafts inbox first, because they've already prepared drafts. And then I'm quickly recording Loom videos into those drafts, so that I'm actually communicating with a richer form of medium than rather writing emails back and forth. And that's been tremendously powerful. So, and that could not have been possible without the help and leadership of Nidhi, Ankita, and Akshay to take that first pioneering step. So please give them a round of applause. And so I think as far as our future, and it can be summed up as to be able to support the entrepreneur's journey through a new form of communication, through video. And we're going to be able to support them through not just the legal aspects of their business, but how they sell their products, how they market their products, and how they reach their audiences. Because the way that we are going to market, how we're going to form a relationship with them is going to empower them with a host of services, which are going to include this new form of influencer marketing services and new forms of video services. And then beyond that, how do we build the next generation of software that's going to enable our business to take off to the next stage? So those are kinds of my thoughts for you today. I don't want to hold up dinner more, but I do want you to write down your questions. And in maybe about 20 minutes, I will do some acknowledgments and go through some questions. So thank you so much, and I appreciate you all being here today. Thank you. Okay, so enjoy dinner, and we'll be back in 20 minutes, okay?
The late night was trying to brainstorm with everyone.
Team, you can have your dinner now, so that like approximately around 9:30 we'll be back. So you can write your acknowledgements, like whom you want to appreciate, whether it can be your peer, whether it can be your manager. So you will place a bowl here. You can write it down on the paper and you can put it here. So Raj will do the acknowledgements after the dinner session. So can you please finish the dinner and assemble around 9:30 today?
question too. Okay? Okay, well, we'll get started. Is anyone else left in the hallway? We could maybe bring. I hope you had a good dinner. And yeah, if you have any feedback on the dinner, let me know. Yeah. Everybody inside, Ankita, or coming? Okay, so we'll wait a couple minutes. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions, I'd love to hear what they are. You could just raise your hand, and we can start taking questions at the end. I'm going to do the acknowledgments, or if you want to write them down, and then, Navanita is here. He may just walk to each table and just pick up the questions if you have any. Otherwise, you could just raise your hand, and we can do it that way as well. And feel free to ask any questions, right? And I'll be happy to answer it and do the best I can, even if it's a difficult question. So. Oh, great. Thank you. Okay. I'll go ahead and get started, I think. Akshay, everybody inside, outside yet still, or? What? Okay. All right, we'll get started, okay? So we had a number of people that came up to me and acknowledged the same people. So I think I have a good idea of who we should recognize, and we've prioritized it. So I'm going to go through each one in no particular order. So I think I want to go through the people, and if I left you out or left someone's name out, I apologize. But I think all of us have done a great job. The fact that we're here, okay? So I'm going to just go through the ones that we're going to acknowledge right now. The first one is Geetika. Geetika, she's an outstanding performer of office actions. She's learned lots of new skills about writing office actions from Vincent, and now she's an exceptional office action writer where our U.S. attorneys are constantly impressed, and she's able to write responses that seem impossible to win, and she's won them. So thank you so much. It's really incredible. Yeah. And the second person we want to acknowledge is Namita, and because for the last 6 months, no deadlines were mixed, and it's very critical for malpractice. So where's Namita? Is she here? Stand up. Thank you. Great job. Yeah. And that's a very important thing. Attention to detail, I think, is a really important skill to have as a lawyer or in the legal support firm. And we are lucky to have many of you that have been exceptional at that over the years. And it's really important. And thank you, Namita. The next person is Aisha, who's always going above and beyond for renewals, and she is always looking on to take on new work. And I've had the good fortune of actually interacting with her and having her give me advice on things that we should do, and she's been very proactive, and it's a great quality to have, and it's a testament to her character. So great job, and thank you for your leadership as well in building and growing the team, and there's a bright future for you ahead. So the next person is Akshay. He's always been willing to take on new tasks, and any role that's required, he always steps in. I remember I came like 6, 7 years ago, and he was brand new or something right when I arrived. And I know some of you are brand new in the standard team. I remember Akshay when he was brand new, and now it's amazing to see him grow and achieve so much. So thank you, Akshay. And for everyone I'm naming, we're going to give you a small bonus, and Vivek and Avinita is going to follow up with you on that. So thank you so much, and also it'll be positive on your next performance review in a major way, okay? And we're going to ensure that now that we have an HR person, that's going to happen on an annual basis in a regular 360 manner. So Ankita is the next person I want to recognize. Ankita has been so much energy, and I'm always impressed because I send her an email and she replies very quickly, and I wonder, I'm concerned about her health. I should be concerned about my health because I'm also awake working. But we've been working very hard in the last couple of months to calibrate the processes, and she's always stepped up and always been very proactive and taking an important role in that. And speaking of that, as well as Poonam, Poonam I've worked with since she was just starting out, and I've seen her learn from being a patent illustrator to then doing docketing to doing patent drafting, design patents, everything that she's taken on, she does it well, and she thinks about what she's doing, and is really conscious about her work. So thank you, Poonam. Next person we recognize is Priyanka. So where's Priyanka? She's on leave? Okay. She assisted in implementing the HR software in Nagpur. So Navinita is really thankful for her help, and also that's going to help manage the business and be able to know when the next performance review is, and structure the company better for growth in the future, and make sure we have the great accountability and also the support structure that you all need. So Priyanka is the next person. The next person that I want to acknowledge is Seema. So Seema, she's been always a silent but very important role in the patent team. She always makes sure the deadlines are captured. She'll text me and remind me, Raj, sign this and do something. So where's Seema? Where's Seema? There she is. Yes, yeah. So thank you. Great job, Seema. And thank you for being with us so long and always being committed to your work and keeping tab of all the deadlines and making sure we don't miss anything. And there's been so many times when we have patent deadlines where it's like we need a file by like 9 p.m. and she's always comes and make sure that we don't miss the date, and we don't sometimes get it to her until 8:20, right? And so thank you so much, and for always making the effort. And the next person is Akshat. Akshat Gupta is someone in our Bangalore office, and Akshat is a real positive attitude. He's a calming energy, and he's well organized. And he's an engineer, but he's also a business project manager, and he is always taking on tasks that are difficult and being the mediator between them, and that's a real gift. So thank you, Akshat, for doing that, and also bringing the company together in Chennai. He's been a great recruiter. He's got a lot of skills, and one of them is also finding great talent, and he's been really good at that too. So thank you, Akshat. So those are the people that I will acknowledge for today, and thank you, everybody, and I appreciate it for all your hard work. And of course, there's the last person that I want to also acknowledge, who's not on this list, is Nidhi. Nidhi's helped me quite a bit. She's been with us a very long time, and Nidhi has always stepped up and taken on new things, and done it conscientiously and done a great job of whatever she does. So thank you, Nidhi. Okay, and I appreciate all that. And now I'm going to go to the questions and answers. I have some questions handed to me here, and I'll get to those, but I also welcome questions from you if you want to raise your hand. So does anyone want to raise their hand first and ask a question? Yes, Saharsh.
Yeah, so one of my questions was that as we start rounding out our competition through, better search, a better product itself, see how do we plan to scale our operational ability as well? Because our operational efficiency needs to be really high and it takes time to hire people.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, we will always have a cart and a horse problem, right? So if we have, you know, more capacity than we have work coming in, there's the problem. And sometimes if you have more work coming in, less capacity, that's also a problem. So finding the right balance. So generally, we're going to try to create a capacity that's greater than the demand initially. So if we always have like a 20% excess capacities, we've traditionally had in Nagpur, we have new people starting, and those new people that are starting are getting trained in anticipation of the demand. That's kind of one way to plan it. And I hope that we're able to meet all those metrics. That depends on the success of our technology team, which you're a strong part of. If we're able to also start telling a growth story again, we'll probably go to the capital markets this time and raise money. We had, in our first 5 years, many opportunities to raise venture capital, and we didn't do it. And unlike our competitor, LegalZoom, which raised almost $1 billion, we raised nothing. And that has limited our growth and limited our ability to put capital investments together, because we could just become more of a cash flow business. And if times are bad, they're really bad. Times are good, they're good, but they're, you know, you're always tempered by the fear of the bad. And so I think the opportunity for us is to always try to build a capacity to service an incoming demand that's about 20% greater than the current demand, and keep people in the pipeline for the next demand cycle.
Thank
Does
you.
that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
So I found one interesting thing in your last slide, like you mentioned gocreator.com, like to support all the creators. Like, is that our future of Trademarkia?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, you know, creative people change the world, right? And that could be art, music, that could be through all different mechanisms, right? And today, in the age we're in today, because of the smartphones, which weren't even around when we started, you know, at least the firm, and 2006 is when the iPhone came out. We started the firm in 2005. And once, you know, today where we're at is you have in your phone, almost everywhere in the world, the power to create high quality video and audio content and tell stories through that content and to actually inspire others. And so because of that, there's a huge creation of intellectual property. That intellectual property is, what is intellectual property? You have real property, like real estate. You have physical property, like your jewelry. And then you have things that you can't see and touch, but they're assets. So how do you create assets out of things that are floating by you? So, and part of that is your own creativity. So whether it's art, music, expression of any kind. And so the opportunity for creators, for us, is to make not just focus on trademark law, but expand to copyrights. Because copyrights is a much broader spectrum of the protection of intellectual property and creativity. And so, as some of you know, at least in the engineering team, one of the short-term roadmaps for the next 12 months after we get the trademark side fixed and revamped is to really go after the copyright business. Today there is no Trademarkia for copyrights. In fact, the only search engine for U.S. copyright data is the U.S. Copyright Office itself. And so we've now been the first to actually get that data. We have purchased from the USPTO and through the Freedom of Information Act a vast amount of complex copyright data. And it's a very difficult data set because it's got all kinds of spiders to it, as Sai knows and others know. But if we are able to pull that off, that's going to be amazing, because it will help us achieve the goal of taking those people who have the power through their phone to create all kinds of content and figure out how to best protect it. And that is through copyright protection. Yeah. Does that make sense? And then the right of publicity, which kind of straddles between copyrights and trademarks. It identifies the source of a particular creator, but it's still their face and likeness. Will open up new markets of licensing and trying to bridge the gap between trademarks and copyrights. So that's where we're headed. Any other questions? You don't all have to be law related or business related. All right, so I've got some questions written here, and I will ask those. What is the scope for a legal assistant in the future? Okay. Well, there's two things. So I would say the scope for a legal assistant in the future, it depends on what your ambition is and what you want to achieve, right? I think if you are a Indian LLB who's gone to an Indian law school and you're helping us with basically doing legal, you're actually doing legal lawyer work, you're creating advisements and written drafts, and how do you progress in your career? I think the best and clearest path is to try to get an LLM, right? I think for the most promising LLBs that we have, I wouldn't mind supporting some of you that want to get an LLM, okay? We have Abhishek, for example, who has an Indian law degree and then went to a US law school, right? Because that can make you eligible for the patent bar. It can give you a more global perspective. So providing tuition assistance or even a job or a sponsorship or something will allow you to get further studies to allow you to be one of our first chair type of client-facing persons would be a career path for some of you. For others, it might be to really evolve into figuring out a leadership role within the organization, because we are planning on scaling. So today we have about 48 people. We may have 100 next year. So if you can form a kind of mindset that you can inspire others and teach others to be the best of themselves and take the skills you know and transform them and transport them to other people and instill a set of values, there's a clear management career path as well. So those, I think, are the two broad areas. One is the management career path, the other is a further education. But we would support that for the most talented people of you. And I see some of those in the audience, and I think there's a big path for there. Some people who are in our patent team, for example, if they came to me tomorrow and said, "Hey, Raj, I want to be a patent attorney in the U.S.," I would do everything I can to help them do that. Okay. So it depends on your ambition and your desire to escape your bubble, right? Part of it is to some of us we all live in our own bubbles, but here Nagpur is a bubble, where I live is a bubble, everywhere's a bubble. So you have to go outside of your comfort zone, right? And how comfortable are you? How willing are you to take? And that depends your future as well. But I can tell you, we want to provide stability. My goal, especially over the years, is to come to the realization that it's better to keep people in a company than to constantly change the doors, okay? Because I think there's a big opportunity for that stability, and I think there's going to be stability here, and there's going to be growth for our team that works hard and achieves the metrics that we need. Okay, so that's my thoughts there. Does that open up any other questions? Does anyone else want to volunteer a question before I read the next one? Okay, so I'll read the next one. What are the aspects of becoming an executive legal assistant? Right, so that's something I'm going to talk about tomorrow, okay? We've created artificial names over the years, and they've morphed, right? So we had the standard team. What is the standard team? And the origins of that is when we had 3 levels of service. We had a standard plus gold level service, which is something we don't have currently, right? And so we had a gold team, we had a plus team, I think we had a plus team, I'm not sure if it was ever big enough, but we had these different teams and these different nomenclatures for those groups of people with certain skills. I think we are going to transform that. I think almost everybody's going to be an executive legal assistant in some way, because it's going to be an assistant to someone that's going to be customer facing, okay? So if you're doing the legal work, you're going to be transforming that role into supporting someone that's going to be making Loom videos and scheduling Google Meets to have real client consultations. You could shadow those consultations. You may even create Looms and Google Meets for the person you support. But over time, I want to move the role from a standard a standard team member or a regular legal assistant to one that's actually supporting an attorney. Okay, so instead of compartmentalizing things where I'm just doing one small part of legal assistant task, you're supporting a client and you're supporting a legal assistant with that client by providing holistic kind of guidance to what you want to share in terms of advice with that client, and put that in a written form if that's more comfortable to you, so that they can orally express it to the client. And that's where we're headed there. Does that make sense? Does that open up any more questions before I get to the next one? These are great questions and thoughtfully put down, but sometimes there may be spontaneity too in the mix. Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. We've had like a culture, and when you have a culture, people get comfortable in one way of doing things, and it's hard to transform from that paradigm to a new paradigm, right? And then sometimes people have one bad experience, they close the door to seeing what's possible, right? And so if you look at the attorneys we're now bringing on board, they come with a much more open mindset, okay? And some of the attorneys we've had in the past, either they fit or they didn't fit. I mean, we're making wholesale changes. There are people, though, which I think are exceptional attorneys, and they want to do things their certain way. And because they're exceptional attorneys, I'm giving them latitude to do that, right? But when I give them latitude to do that, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to keep feeding them new work. So they need to actually take the clients they have and grow with those relationships, because the people that we're going to give new work to are the ones that are willing to adapt to the future. And that future is video first, that video is client facing first. It's also leveraging global talent, because if we have our most expensive labor doing tasks that are not customer facing, we are losing money at a very rapid clip, because the rates we charge versus what rates lawyers charge for trademark filings, even in the US, which are $1,300 to $3,000 a trademark application, can't justify the amount of time needed. And so at the scale we were trying to grow at, it requires us to have a global structure. So we will recruit new attorneys to service those new clients, and the work will dry up unless those attorneys, and some of them I believe do, have the skills to develop relationships on their own and nurture and grow those relationships. Because we do have a very good, talented base of attorneys, and I think some of them will thrive even in those circumstances. But certainly I do appreciate there's a paradigm change that has to be done. And the paradigm change isn't easy to do for everybody. Anytime someone comes out of their comfort zone and does something beyond that comfort zone, it's a bit distressing. Yeah. And as you know, I don't know if some of you know, a few years ago we had a problem where there was issues with assistants in India as well as attorneys in India that weren't strictly following the guidelines and the responsibility commitments. And because they were doing what they were told without thinking about why they're doing it. So I think it's really important to identify opportunities to support your initial, don't just do things, think about why you're doing it, okay? And one of the things that I really admire about the patent team that I've worked with over the years, with Seema and Poonam, is they'll find the rules, they'll read the patent procedures, they'll look at the manual patent exam procedures, or the trademark examination manual in some cases, like with Ankita and others, and they'll find the rule that's relevant to the action they're asked to take. And so instead of looking at it as a task, look at it as why you're doing it, and try to apply logic to it to make the right decisions. That makes sense? Yes? What was that? Yeah, so what vision? So we're going to be a place where so we've always been the underdog's friend, okay? And I think we'll continue being that, okay? The large companies of the world are always going to have the avenue, the means, and the mechanism to support a established infrastructure of ways of doing things. But the rule breakers, the people that are changing the world, don't come from often the big companies. They come from the people that are growing into it. And so what we are doing is we are supporting that entrepreneur's journey. We're supporting the creators of tomorrow. And we're doing that through technology. But we're not doing it necessarily solely as an e-commerce company. So the vision for Trademarkia that I see is to be the trusted source for legal help. And that doesn't necessarily mean on the internet, but anywhere, through relationships formed with a counselor that can be anywhere in the world that has the skills to help them through their entrepreneurial journey. So there's a course of action that happens. Usually someone has an idea, that seed grows into a business, that seed can grow and nurture and foster into a tree. But many times it's not that rosy. Businesses fail. 95% of businesses fail, maybe even more, right? So we want to be across those life cycles of businesses, because entrepreneurs shouldn't get discouraged because you just need one great idea to change the world. And so we should be the partner in law for those types of entrepreneurs. That's how I see the vision for us. Does that make sense? Any other questions before I go to the next one? All right, so let's go to the next one. Okay, can I take on additional responsibility for client relationship? Well, perhaps. I mean, I think the person to ask is right here. So the person to convince is JJ Thiart. And we are actively recruiting for those roles. So what requires you, so what would make you a good candidate for that, okay? I think the first is facility with the English language, okay? That doesn't necessarily mean an American accent, but it means a facility with language and the ability to speak with clarity, with poise and confidence, okay? And be able to express your thoughts clearly and in a way that inspires that confidence so that people trust you, okay? And that is hard for certain people that grow up in a certain educational system, a certain way of seeing things, because you're told to actually stop that type of thinking and just to follow the rules. But we're looking for leaders. So ultimately, in order to be a great client relations attorney, you have to inspire confidence in the client to trust you, okay? So I think the first person to get you to trust you is JJ. So if you're interested in that, you have your opportunity here for the entire week. We're here. So that's what I would say, okay? Any other questions before I take the next one? Did you have your hand up, or you just stretching? Just stretching, okay. All right. Anybody else? Okay. If in case attorney's assistants are burdened due to work, can sometimes we assist them? The assistants are overburdened, I think, due to work constraints. Can sometimes we assist them? Of course. Okay, proactiveness is a very good trait to have, okay? And people that are proactive and are like seizing opportunities are the ones that are going to actually be the most successful, okay? Don't wait for things to be done, but proactively find the opportunities to do something. If you have idle time, you can choose to spend your idle time multiple ways. You could choose your idle time by saying, great, I got idle time, I'm gonna hide and try to find the least way to do the least work. That's one approach. But the way that you're going to actually move up in your careers, in your lives, is to actually seize the opportunity to keep learning and ask for things to do and find things to do. It's even better, right? And those that do that should be rewarded and should be recognized. And that's what we're looking to do even today when I ask for who's the people that we should be thinking about to acknowledge. And so the chickens come home to roost, and you will find that very soon, right? If you persist in your ability to continually look for new opportunities to help. And so I think the fundamental, the intention of this question is, if you're looking to help, can I help? Yes, you can. Find someone that's willing to accept that help and offer it to them and do a great job and learn. So that's how I would say it. Right? Any other questions before I take the next one? Yes. Yeah, patents and trademarks are actually, even though the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office is one, they're fundamentally very different things, right? And so it's almost should be the U.S. Trademark and Copyright Office. I would rather have them, but the Copyright Office is off to its side because, patents require a different skill set. I mean, the reason being, patents protect inventive, creative things that are often engineering and science related, right? And the tests and the legal standards of what qualifies is very different than trademarks. With copyright, has more similarity because, as I mentioned, the straddle between trademark and copyrights is the right of publicity and the licensing rights of those intellectual property assets. One has a commercial intent, the other has an primarily artistic intent. So they straddle that creative gamut, whereas the technical, utilitarian gamut is where usually people think of with patents. The straddle between trademarks and patents is really design patents. So I think where we will expand next is we currently have anchors with trademarks, and we have an anchor that's, even though small, with patents, utility patents. Expanding our ability to create a third anchor in copyrights protection is the next step. It's ultimately the holy grail if we can try to get the design patents and the licensing together as well, and that will complete the gamut of our ability to service intellectual property. And not just as a service provider, but how do we do that through enabled technology? Because what effectively happens is, what differentiates us from another lawyer or another law firm, and why are we the largest law firm for trademark filings? And the reason is that because we have a technological advantage. We've built a technology stack and an engineering stack that's very difficult for a normal lawyer to do, right? So as I mentioned, we're part engineering company, we're part law firm, and that's what makes us magical. Any other questions? Yes. Patents are tough, okay? And the reason they're tough is because I have certain skills in writing patents, and I've done that before. I could go back to multinationals and do patents, but my time will be sunk in that, right? So what we've tried to achieve is to create a personal skills and move away from personal skills and effort to a system that can generate itself. How do you build loyalty to a brand versus loyalty to an attorney, right? And when you're billing your time, I could do that if I wanted to very easily. But the question is, and I could support n number of people in India if I was to go back to multinationals and say, give me patent work. I know TI would do it. I know a number of large companies I used to work with before would start giving me patent work. The reality is then all my time is eaten up there, right? And there's only so much of my time I could give. So how do you do patents at scale? How do you do it as a trust-building mechanism into an organization as to an individual? And it's hard to do because the patent system itself is one where large companies have many patents to file every year. A small company usually has just one or two, right? And so we've tried with Patent Express. So we've launched Patent Express. And in fact, we have Thiru back there, and we have Nishant in our Chennai office, trying to figure out crack the mystery on how to market to entrepreneurs that are looking to protect patents online. that aren't necessarily going to have n number of cases, but again be the underdog in the game. And there's a company, Thoughts to Paper, that's doing it quite well. We're trying to figure out how to compete against that to start driving more patent volume. We're not yet successful. We spent since the beginning of September, we spent $1,800 in paid search ads to bring in a $200 provisional patent application. That's not going to work economically. So we're trying to figure out how to get the economics to work to make that possible. But I think even just as if yesterday or 2 days ago, we've been discussing that with Thiru. Thiru was right that Thiru, maybe you could raise your hand. And if you have ideas, that's the person to talk to, because the person raising his hand there is trying to get us to revitalize our patent system. Right? Yeah. So, any other questions before I look at the next couple more I've got here? Okay. I guess I just have one more. We need chance to learn from executive legal assistants. Okay, well that's part of, so tomorrow I'm meeting with different groups of you, okay? So we are going to recalibrate, and part of me is to have an education process of understanding who's in our team and what everyone does, right? And also learn and listen about what you see. So when each of you meet with me and some of the engineers will bring, is primarily for us in this trip to learn about what you do, what are the challenges you face, and what are the opportunities you think exist for the business, and to make your roles completely aligned to where you want to take your careers. So I want to understand that first, because I don't think we can just demarcate lines between I'm a legal assistant, I'm an exec. I think there has to be, like I mentioned, all of our legal assistants are going to be supporting a person, whether it's an attorney or a U.S. client relations manager or a customer service manager, that's going to be client facing. We have like 85,000 or some 82,000 clients that are in our database right now. When JJ and I look and see how many of them actually have a client relations manager and has any contact in the last like 3 months, it's a couple thousand. So what happened to the last 88 to 80,000? Those people that don't hear from us for 6 years and 7 years, they might have spent $6,000 with it. That's not good. And that's what's really holding us back. So that's one of the reasons we're going to invest more in Nagpur. It's one of the reasons we're going to scale, because we have to create a mechanism where we have more face time with our clients. So that's where my last question is, and I'll leave it open for one. Any more questions?
In the future, do we have any more patent attorneys?
I would love to, but the economics don't justify it. Okay, so patent attorneys are the most expensive type of lawyer in the United States. Okay. And they are also the rarest. I mean, there are millions of U.S. lawyers. There's 30,000, maybe 25,000 patent attorneys. Okay, I'm one of them. Okay, but it's not easy to find ones that are good patent attorneys that are available and not 100% employed, right? And the ones that are 100% employed make so much money, make $300,000 or more, and it's very difficult for us to do that when we have no work. So either I can go back to the multinationals and say, give me work so I can do that work. Either I can go and, in order to get the multinational, you need 3 or 4 of them in one place, like we used to have. So we have to really, ideally I can find someone that runs that patent side and builds it. And it's been very hard to find, because the way trademarks work and the way patents work are very different. And those that you work on the boundaries of that will see that, right? The patent side is quiet, and you think through things for long periods of time. You're not necessarily interacting with clients. You're studying and learning and drafting and thinking of tasks that might take 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours on a single invention. Whereas, a trademark is going to be, a few hours of time measured in, half a day or a day, and then the next day you're doing something else. So there's a much more rapid cycle, and that creates a difficulty in the mindset between the cultures of these two things. So patent lawyers like to be with other patent lawyers that focus on patents. Okay? And it's hard to recruit for that. But I would love to. But, you know, for example, we had Vincent. Vincent took the patent bar. He's a great patent attorney now. But I tried to recruit him back, but his salary is now so, and he works in a patent firm doing patent application. It's impossible to recruit him back, okay? Because we don't have any work. If he came work with us, I could not have him do trademarks. He's priced himself out of that. So unless we have a volume of patent work coming in, it's not possible to sustain that role. So you really need a rainmaker patent attorney. Rainmaker patent attorneys are ones that can bring in the original clients first. And that's, you know, again, it becomes a personal skills and effort kind of thing. And we have to create a reason why they want to be associated with us, okay? And I haven't found the right narrative yet to convince anyone. But if you have ideas for that, I'm open to listening. Does that make sense? Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you for your time, and I appreciate you spending tonight with me and each other, and thank you for all the hard work you've put in, and let's look forward to a great next year. Okay? Thank you so much.